Hello, my name is Janice B. Gordon, and this is Scale Your Sales Podcast. Welcome to Scale Your Sales Podcast, listed number 9 of 43 best podcasts for every sales professional. I am Janice B. Gordon, the customer growth expert, recommended by LinkedIn Sales as one of 15 innovating influencers to follow. In this episode of Scale Your Sales Podcast, I speak to a real go-getter, somebody that makes change happen. She has created and manages and runs 3 brands. Factor 8, which provides frontline job training for inside sellers and managers for enterprises. She has the Brand Bar, a subscription-based virtual sales training platform and open program to all. And then also #Girls Club. It's a community and development program helping more women earn leadership positions in sales. So it's about community, it's about building confidence and also creating or getting management and career progression. In the podcast interview, we talked about how smart revenue leaders are getting their custom success teams they're getting to understand that these teams is where the long tail revenue lies. And it's these folks that are really sellers and should be considered to be sellers. We talked a lot about authenticity and the world that we're living in as women, as myself as a Black woman, and how the sales environment and generally the business environment needs to change. So you're going to really enjoy this conversation. I certainly did. It was really heart-provoking. My next guest is the founder and president of 3 successful brands. She's on a mission to change lives by helping all levels of sales feel more confident and more successful at work. Welcome to Scale Your Sales Podcast, Lauren Bailey.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here with you, Janice.
I'm so happy. And you know what? I need to put my timer on because I know, Lauren, we are going to be talking forever. We're going to run over time. So I need something to hold us back for the next opportunity, which will be next year when we're going to continue the conversation, because I know we've got a lot to discuss. So let's start. I know that you are running, various brands and businesses. So it will be really great to have an understanding of them and what they do and how they fit together, Lauren.
Sure. So I started my first company called Factor 8. I had just gotten out of a career in sales leadership and training leadership. So I kind of bounced back before enablement and revenue. And I could never find the solutions. I couldn't find a vendor who could give me really, really good tactical digital sales training. Like everybody talks about what happens when you get to the conversation, but not how do I get somebody on the phone and keep them on the phone and get them to respond to an email, and right? The digital side of it was missing. So I built it, and that was Factor 8. And then about 10 years in to Factor 8, I launched everything online on the Sales Bar. So the Sales Bar is where we serve up individual classes or 6-packs or 12-packs. We might have a little too much fun with the bar puns, happy hour, shots, all that stuff. And that's for the mid-market and SMB. Factor 8 typically partners on large contracts with big companies looking to scale sales teams. But the offerings are available for smaller teams on the Sales Bar. And then about 5 years ago, Janice, I just got sick of answering the question, why aren't there more women in sales leadership?
Gosh,
right? I'm like the expert on the panel. Yeah. And they ask us the same goddamn question every year. And then we have the same goddamn conversation about it at the women's breakfast. And it just, I'm one of those people that I can't keep talking about it. If I'm going to talk about it, I'm going to fix it. And I thought I had a way to do it. I had the sneaking suspicion that more women were getting into leadership, not because they weren't in sales, not because they weren't great at sales, but because they were lacking the confidence to raise their hand and ask for the promotion. So I built a program called Girls Club, hashtag Girls Club. By the way, don't go to girlsclub.com at work. That's not the website. That will get you in trouble. That is a very good website. Yeah. Look in the show notes for the real website. But Girls Club takes women who are in revenue related positions and it gets them promoted rapidly, like 70% promotion rate in under 6 months, kind of rapidly. Over 400 promotions so far and counting. So that's a project for me. And it's amazing because I get to be surrounded by all these just badass females. And that, I mean, that's fun, right? We were just talking about that before we started recording.
Exactly. This is really interesting. That's an incredible success rate. So who is Girls Club, hashtag Girls Club for?
Okay, so we built it for the rep who's thinking one day maybe about being a manager, but isn't totally sure and probably doesn't feel ready and yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, right? And what we learned is that that's about 50% of our audience. The other 50% are the women who are already promoted into management, but maybe aren't getting the training and aren't getting the support and don't see other women in the roles and want that extra boost.
So then are there kind of two separate different arms for
They're coming together.
They're coming together.
They're coming together, yeah. And so we serve in two different ways as well. For our first 5 years, we would do a one annual cohort. And it's a live 6-month, pretty intensive certification program, right? Where it's not just the training, but it's live stuff together and it's mentoring and it's chances to get spotlighted in your company and externally. And then that's the graduation rate of 70%, right? They just take off like freaking rockets. But we've also now launched Girls Club on Demand, which is for the women whose company maybe couldn't pay to put them in, or who doesn't have it during 9 to 5, who is out on mat leave, feeding the baby at 2 o'clock in the morning, but wants to launch her career when she comes back. Mm-hmm. So two different ways we serve, but we find the diversity is great. When we have women who are currently BDRs, who are currently customer success managers. We had a VP of marketing come in because she had to run a sales team and just wasn't sure exactly how. So it's great when we have all the different personalities and levels.
And I would imagine it's a great, not only a resource within the cohort, but also, for job opportunities going forward as well. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for me is probably every week or two, I get a text from somebody, right? LB, remember me? It's Melissa. I graduated in Generation 3. Look who I'm here with. And it's a picture of her with a mentor from Generation 2 because she just hired her. Or, right, those stories are amazing. And Janice, this isn't just in America. We launched this and it's me and somebody else part-time. Be clear. We don't have we have great sponsors to make it possible, but nobody's making a lot of money on this. Mm-hmm. 30 countries.
Wow.
Women want this, right? They find us and it's great because you feel like you found your tribe. Because so many times kind of siloed, right? In companies where we don't see other amazing women. And that's part of it. We bring in role models like you. Say, hey, look, here's women at the top.
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned that, you suspected that one of the things holding women back to go further on into leadership was a lack of confidence. Do you think that is still that, they don't know how to ask for promotion and all of that? One of my thought views, and I've read quite a bit around this, is that, women have to present themselves in a certain way to be asking for promotion, but the way that they present themselves isn't necessarily authentic to the way that they would normally present themselves. It's almost like these are rules of the game, but you never created those rules, and it's not even your game, but you have to present yourself to be acceptable to that. But yet, people don't necessarily want you to act in that way.
Oh my God.
There's a disconnect between...
There's a double standard.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what your thoughts are around this.
Yeah, well, you're going to be shocked probably by my first thought, which is go and watch the Barbie movie.
Yeah.
Because they talk about this. Did you see it?
I was supposed to see it tonight. So I'm hoping to,
And I really thought that, listen, I didn't play much with Barbies. I was a tomboy. I've always been comfortable with the guys. So I was a woman manager in revenue, but I realized that when I asked for that job, it was almost like an out of body experience for me. I looked back afterwards and I was like, where did I find those big girl pants that I just put on? And thank God I did, because it launched everything for me, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody has those moments of bravery. And there's this amazing monologue you'll find in the Barbie movie that talks about what it is to be a woman. And I'm not going to go on a sob story about it being hard, because there's a lot of fabulous things about being right. And I didn't grow up or come up in America, in corporate America, feeling put down. I didn't come up. It felt normal, right? I found out later that I wasn't supposed to be hit on at work, and that maybe I was drastically underpaid, right? So I guess what I'm trying to say is that we're not about being woe's me. We're about knowing there's enough opportunity for everyone. We're about highlighting the awesome men who do it right and lifting each other up instead of bitching about it and pulling each other down. Now, to answer your actual question, yeah, there's this double standard for women. I call it girl code. When we speak in girl code, right? Mm-hmm. So any man in the world who asks his wife, how are you? And she says, fine, knows by now that he's in big effing trouble, right? That's girl code. Here's another example. I challenge you to come up with one too. Janice, why don't you come to dinner? And then you'll say, what should I bring? Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no, nothing. I've got it. I've got it. And you understand that means don't show up without a bottle of wine, right?
Yeah, exactly. You better bring something, but I don't want to ask you for it.
My job is to say no. Your job is to demand that you do.
Yeah.
Right? And then we'll do another round of that, depending on just how entrenched we are in girl code.
Yeah.
I wound up showing up to Thanksgiving at my mother-in-law's house because my husband doesn't speak girl code. Mom, Lauren wants to know what she can bring. Mom says nothing. The husband literally lets me show up with nothing. He doesn't get it.
Yeah.
So we've learned from a very young age that we have to be pretty, but not too pretty. We have to be outspoken, but not too loud. We have to be smart, but not overshadow.
Yeah.
And that's the monologue you'll hear in the Barbie movie, and it can be tough. So being authentic and being direct is not something that comes naturally to a lot of us.
Yeah, because of all, I get it, because of all of the mixed messages, it's clear to us that, like, okay, so direct but not too direct, and, kind of like confident but don't overshadow. To what degree is that? And in different cultures, different business environments, the degrees are going to change. You may overcook it or not. I mean, it's like you need to be psychotic in order to navigate with these different unwritten rules, That's
why I've been successful. I clearly have some instability. No, but listen, I remember the first time I was training in the UK. So I was in my late 20s, and IBM was sending me around the world to teach their people how to sell direct. And I was in Greenock, Scotland. And I was not very happy with how things are going in the facilities, right? Like, I'm putting on this huge show trying to get everybody moved in this big direction, and I couldn't even get the damn trash emptied in this room, right? It was like, could I get some goddamn support here? I was feeling on the inside. And so I raised my hand at the end of the day and said, do you think I could get somebody down to empty the trash? Anyway, I found out a week later that everybody on that team thought I was a bitch. And it crushed me, Janice. And it crushed me, right? Why am I a bad person? Why am I? And this is what happens to young women, because when they speak up, they get called the B word. And so when we find other powerful women, like in Girls Club, we learn to celebrate that moment.
Yeah.
Right? It's like a coming of age in corporate America.
Yeah.
For women now. And I'm so happy to bring that to that next generation, because instead of crying about it, we high five about it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that the world is beginning, not entirely, but it's beginning to come around, so that you can instead of going in to a women's group and celebrating these things, you can outwardly celebrate these things, and there's going to be a number of people that know what you're talking about. Not everybody is going to get it, but because we've gone through Me Too movement and all of the movements that have come after that, it's created a sense of awareness that there are those injustices out there. So people have heard the issue, even if they don't join the conversation.
So that's what did it, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think right. Like we just quit being quiet about it. Right? Forever, we all knew it was there. We all knew it was there, but we weren't talking about it, and we didn't come together to support each other.
Yeah.
That's a big difference. So I think that women helping women it is new in society, sadly, because somehow we were taught we had to compete for the resources, for the job, for the man, for all of those things, right? For the attention. And we've realized now that that's bullshit. So we've moved from the scarcity mindset to the abundance mindset, and it's helping us. It's beautiful.
It is. It's lovely. I often say things and I think, oh gosh, welcome to my world. It's nothing new to us, but it's a revelation to them. So I think it's important to still join in the conversation, even if it's like, yeah, done that, got the t-shirt and everything like that. So what's your attitude as to how things are going to progress going forward? Are you feeling buoyant, confident, or do you think this is still, we've got a long way to go, it's still going to be a slog, we've got to keep pushing? Or do you think that the momentum is now caught up, that it will keep under its own energy, keep moving?
No, I think that's going to be a slog for a little while. I think it will continue to be a slog. Because corporations and society, if you will, the attention waxes and wanes, right? Listen, in the U.S., we had some really unfortunate, horrible things happen with our police. And then everybody had a DEI initiative. And now there are people actively tearing it down, which breaks my heart, right? And the same things happen with me too, right? Oh, we need to do all these things for women. But now nobody seems to really be thinking about it. And it's yesterday's news. And so it can come back down. So I think that it really has to be also in the hearts and minds of individuals, right? I don't blame inequality or wage gaps on white men. That there are institutions that continue this, and it doesn't mean that they're bad. I think that people inherit inequities and they don't know how or when to check it, which is, by the way, why we've recently done some work on this. You can find on our website wage surveys and even webinars with lawyers helping people figure out how to go check, because that's the first step. Check for inequity, right? Check for wage gaps. But I think that at least 50% belongs with us, right? In teaching our sisters how to ask, how to negotiate, and what's available to be negotiated. We've done a lot of surveys, and men will negotiate salary on a new job approximately 3 rounds. A woman's average is 1, which means half the time she takes what she's offered. The other half, right? It's 1.5 to 2 rounds. So it right there is where the gap starts. Right? We do surveys every year in Girls Club about, have you asked for the promotion? And if so, why not? And Janice, the research tells us every single year that women sit on their hands. Well, I don't know how to do that yet. And I've got more to perfect here. And I'm not sure I know what that job's about. And I just don't think I'm ready. And someday maybe, yeah, but no, but yeah, but no, but yeah. So the study came out of HP called the confidence gap, where if there's 10 things on a job description, a man applies at 6, a woman applies at 10. So part of it is training ourselves. Right. So when we do confidence building in Girls Club, it's about risk taking. Yeah. And in order to fuel risk taking, you have to squash perfectionism. Those two things are directly related. Right. Perfectionism starves confidence. They cannot coexist.
I absolutely, I love this. I absolutely love this, because it's about being aware. The sense of, knowing what your colleagues are earning, doing the same job, it's invisible. You just don't know. But when you go into like the girls club and have those conversations and suddenly realize that you needed to have gone, not just to stage 1 but stage 3 in order to negotiate that salary increase, or how to find out what other people are earning. If you don't know, you just don't know. So the best thing is to be informed, and then I think once you're informed and aware, because if you're doing the same job and you realise that you're earning 40% less, that would irk you enough to motivate you to do something.
Yeah. Unfortunately, most of us, when I say that because I've been there, find that out and vote with our employment. We're so angry and hurt we leave. By the way, it happens over and over again also with the women who are meant to interview their boss. Because, right, and they're like, why didn't they ask me for this job? I can do this job better than that turkey. Right? Well, guess what? They didn't ask you, because that's not how it works. You have to raise your hand and say, I want that job.
Yeah.
And it's not cocky and it's not awful, and you're not making yourself a peacock by doing it. It sounds like this. Okay. I'm going to give you words to use. This is my boss. I've been on the job for, I don't care if it's 5 minutes, ladies. It's never too early to ask. I have people who ask in interviews. Okay. Janice, can you help me understand how career paths work around here? I've noticed there's a lot of people rising into management from within, and career progression is something I really value. It's important to me to do that. So could we work on a plan together about my career path?
Yeah, that's non-threatening.
Right? Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that conversation. No. So I was speaking at a women's event. Short story for you. And this was outreach. You and I met at an event.
Yeah, we did.
So this was their women in sales event, and they'd flown in the female sales reps from all their different locations pre-COVID. And it was like a year anniversary. I was speaking with a couple other people. There's like 5 men at the happy hour before the speaking. And I made a chance to include them and thank them for being there. So I'm standing next to a manager. We'll call him Russ. And I'm standing next to a rep. We'll call him Dusty. Okay. Dusty was literally a new hire. This was Thursday. He was hired on Monday. Right? And we were talking about women in sales and the mission of Girls Club to get more women to the top. And he says to his manager, how do you get ahead around here? And his manager talks about the paths. Okay. Fast forward an hour. It's the end of the panel. Margaret's taking questions. A gorgeous girl in the very, very back of the room raises her hand. She says, I've been a BDR here. Well, I've been a top performing BDR here for 2 or 3 years now. When is it too early to ask about getting promoted?
Yeah.
3 years, top performer, 3 days on the job. And that's the difference.
Yeah. Wow.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you just go and ask.
Yeah. Incredible. You've not even proved yourself and you're asking, Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
But the manager, I mean,
haven't got a problem
asking. It's normal.
Yeah. Yeah.
But somehow we doubt ourselves, right? We don't know that we're allowed to ask, and we think we have to prove it. We also feel like if we do everything right and we play by the rules, they'll come to us. Those aren't the rules.
No. I love this, Lauren. Let me ask you, I was having this conversation earlier today with Julie Thomas, who you know, and this was around customer success teams, whether they're part of the sales cohort or not. What is your thoughts around this?
Well, I think that SaaS has changed everything. Right? And it used to be that the revenue team did the big install and then customer service got a few tiny little drips. And that ain't how it works anymore, right? It's the model's flipping. So, right, it's a small sale up front and the big money's on the back part of the sale. And not enough revenue leaders, I think, have embraced that, right? So they have to love it up front, but then they have to use it and then they have to buy more and they have to keep buying it. So I think that all too often we put customer service people into customer success instead of salespeople into customer success. And maybe that's because we have to do better as salespeople, Janice, right? I mean, nobody likes a salesperson, a salesy, pushy salesperson. But we do love relationship building, solution building connectors and problem solvers. And that's what I think all salespeople should be. So yeah, we've seen a trend in this at Factor 8 as well. We're typically training people on the front end, but more and more teams are coming to us on this back end because the folks that are sitting, the women who are sitting in customer success are uncomfortable selling, right? So we have to change that mindset a bit and help people understand that you're there to help them. And that's part of the role. You're not forcing things on them that they don't want. You're asking questions and solving problems.
And that makes me think that there are so many people that still have that idea that sales is, the pushy salesman, car salesman. They have, and especially women have that in their mind. That's what sales is. Whereas actually it's not. It's about service, isn't it?
It truly is. So I think that especially in today's world, marketing is taking over more and more and more of sales, right? And listen, if they can do it without touching anybody, companies do that because it's cheaper and it's more low Amazon. They've taught us that, right? Yeah. But the marketing fund, and also it's gotten noisier, so it takes more and more touches, doesn't it, Janice, to get somebody from unawareness all the way into I'm ready to buy. So if you think of it, the funnel, right? Awareness, research, right? Marketing stops and sales takes over when people need help. Just be really clear about that, right? That's, if they could do it on their own, they would. We are here to make the human connection, to say, all right, let's look at your situation, and now we're going to bump that up against my solution, and let me tell you how it fits, or if it doesn't fit, parts it does and doesn't fit. Because if they could figure that out without sales, sadly they would. So if we look at it that way, isn't selling helping?
Yeah.
Right? And isn't sometimes the help that we give getting people out of analysis paralysis and into decision-making mode?
Yeah.
Sometimes that's the help because inertia is real, right? Avoidance is real and busyness is real. And if I can go as long as I can without making a decision, I will. So sometimes help is just, hey, remember that thing you said that was important to you? I'm here to remind you, and I'm here to follow up. And we feel pushy doing that, but it's a service to help people solve the problem they came to solve.
I love that. In sales is when people need help. That's when marketing ends and sales begins, and I think that's a great way of looking at it. Now, I know that you train and support direct sellers, inside sellers. What trends are you seeing that are changing in that environment through Factory?
Well, unfortunately, I feel like we're going backwards a little bit.
Really?
Yeah. Well, listen, the positive thing about COVID is that we taught so many new ways that they could sell digitally without having to be face to face. And we taught millions of people that they could hire people anywhere. And that's good for the worker, isn't it? That I don't have to, get stuck on the the M4? That's just
M6.
M6. There it is. M4, M5, whatever it is.
Yeah.
That's an old American movie. Anyway, that's a great thing. Unfortunately, in digital selling, we are still usually a younger salesperson than the enterprise face-to-face, gray hair, carry a suitcase seller. And I'm just seeing more and more people sales is what's breaking my heart, Janice. That's the hard part because it's hard to learn how to sell anyway. Right. And that's why I built Factor 8, because you don't come in and get a chance to sell. You come in and get a chance to fight with voicemails and emails and noise to get people's attention. Then you get a chance to sell. And what used to take 3 months to get up to speed, to hit quota and get wins and enjoy coming to work, is now taking 4 months and 5 months.
Wow.
Because companies don't have the training available virtually. And the reps don't have the people around them they can learn from. So I'm trying to figure out how to get these people to pick up their damn phone or reply to my damn emails. And so I just try what comes natural, which is spray and pray. And so that our sales experience for consumers is going down, right? and the sales experience for reps is going down. So people are failing out of sales and choosing not to stay in sales more and more often. And
that's why they need Factor 8 all the more, because if companies can't provide that ongoing support and training, then they need to outsource that in order so that it's so expensive to recruit.
It's so expensive.
It's crazy.
It really is. So there's new skills we have to master that people aren't teaching, right? Like, when's the last time you got a really good demo? I just did a LinkedIn poll about this, right? And like 10% of the people were like, yeah, they're not bad. 90% were like, I want to self-harm. Demos are so painful, because we're not teaching people how to do that, right? Videos like Zoom, we're on it all day, but listen, the fix your background and get a good microphone days are over. There's this whole other level now of what we have to do to engage people.
Yeah.
I've seen some really painful meetings.
Talking about
writing of emails and voicemails and, cutting through the noise. Sorry about that.
No. So, talking about painful, why would you say that most organizations fail at the manager level?
Well, that's the key to scale, isn't it? Right? That's the key to scale. Managers are former reps. 90% are, right? I was a rep 5 minutes ago. I've been promoted to manager. And I used to run training departments and enablement departments, and we just don't have the energy, bandwidth, and budget to train these folks, right? Which is exactly what I saw as a gap when I started Factor 8. So fortunately, what makes people really great reps does not make them natural managers, right? Top reps are competitive and aggressive and all about the win and me, and go, go, go. Top managers have to be about the we, and they have to work through people. And right, they're horrible coaches naturally. It's the worst thing in the world for a manager. Me too. So unfortunately, the vast majority of companies do not have development for managers. We survey this every year at Girls Club, and the answer is under 30% have any kind of program to help teach the managers what their job is, what they have to stop doing now that they're not a rep anymore, and what meetings they have to have with their reps, and how to do a good pipeline meeting, and how to keep the pipeline clean, and how to do a good one-on-one, and for the love of God, how to be a decent coach.
Yeah. Is that what you cover in your program as well?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's, by the way, that's Factor 8 content that we use in Girls Club. So Girls Club training on job duties is one leg on the stool. Confidence building is one leg on the stool. And then community is one leg on the stool. Wow. And that secret sauce is what helps them take off like crazy. And so that was, to bring it full circle, Janice, that was the hunch I had, right? When I'm watching all these women who aren't raising their hands to get into management, I think, every year I train hundreds of sales managers who have been in the job for years. And this content we're bringing to them is brand new. Like, we get hugs. Oh my God, I finally understand my job. Thank you. From like great big guys, right?
Yeah.
And I thought the women think that everybody else has it figured out, but they don't. Right? They don't have it figured out yet. We're teaching brand new information, and they've been on the job for 3 years.
Yeah.
So if we could teach them ahead of time, they would go in feeling more confident, right? To be paired up with these guys as peers. And it really does make a difference. It's a hack anybody can use. If you'd like more women in your leadership team, give them an opportunity to train for the job before getting in the job.
Wow, that's a great idea. Yeah. That is good. I like that. But you need to be with a company, and I think it's up to, as you say, it's on us. It's up to us to be asking and even proposing these ideas within organization. What does it look like? What do I need to do? Here's a suggestion. I can go on this, Factor 8, do the management, and then I'm ready. I'm ready to apply it in the company. Yeah.
Absolutely. Most companies have a budget per employee for development, but they're not really good at announcing it.
No.
So you can go and ask for it. I have found a program, whether it's Girls Club, whether it's Factor 8, whether it's, it doesn't have to be mine, just find one, right? And go ask for that budget. It more than often when you ask, you get. It's the being scared to ask that stops most of us.
So, Lauren, who is your hero or shero?
Oprah Winfrey. Straight up 100%. Talk about the original badass. So, I mean, Janice, this whole time we've been talking about the difference between men and women, but I'm surprised you haven't spoken up to say you want to talk about wage gap, right? Women weren't 80 cents on the dollar compared to men, but Black women are about 60 cents on the dollar. And that's complete bullshit. So many Black women start their own companies. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Of course you do.
I'm running my own company. Yeah, exactly.
Right? If you're not going to treat me fairly, I'm going to come out here and make my own rules.
Yeah.
So I love that. It gives me chills. Oprah made her own rules. So she started, right, in this industry who did not like people who looked like her for a myriad of reasons, right? She had the ability to be talented and Black and fat. I mean, God love her. She was real. And people connected to her because she wasn't afraid to show she was real. I think she personifies authenticity and transparency, but also does that with her own power. And that speaks to me. And then, by the way, she used her platform for good, right? She got in there and got us talking about being our better selves and the power of positivity and so many amazing messages that her competition was bringing in my jealous lover who had his baby. I mean, that's such bullshit, right? The rest of the media played to the lowest common denominator, and Oprah raised the denominator. And to the
media, that was part of the problem. She didn't fit the stereotype of what, like doing, the trashy. She really kind of kept leveling up and rising above it. And also created a platform for a lot of other good people. We're talking about, the really good, authentic messages to help and support other people. So very much like-minded platform. Yeah.
Yes. I know you have, and I want to read something to you. When we first started talking, Janice, and I just saw your face light up, and we connected so quickly. Look, I've read this so many times. Look what a mess it is. Right? It's been ripped up, but you can cut this if you want, but I want you to hear it from me. It's called Find the Others.
It's called, sorry?
Find the Others.
Okay.
And I can't even attribute it, but here's what it says. Trust me when I say there are incredible, beautiful souls out there who are creating a new world. They do not live in fear. It doesn't even enter their mind. They are vibrant. They are magnetic humans that are creating magic in this world. Janice Gordon. When you meet one, you'll know. Picture the life you want. Release fear. Raise your vibration. Elevate. Change starts with all of us. Find the others.
Wow. I'm leaving this in. That is incredible. Can you also send me that? Just take a picture. I'm going to print this in the show notes. I need to have this one up in my office as well. That is like, my heart just stops. That is incredible.
We needed that today.
Yeah.
I will find it in the video and send it to you.
Yeah. Love that. Oh, wow. Like when you stops? Yeah, that was it for me.
Yeah, we needed that. Sort of like living the life I'm meant to be.
Yeah, living the life I'm meant to have. That's what we're doing. We're living the life I'm meant to have.
That one's from Janice Gordon.
So, Lauren, how can people get hold of you?
You can find Factor 8 at factor8.com. Girls Club is wearegirlsclub.com. And me, LB, just find me on LinkedIn, Lauren Bailey.
This has been an absolute pleasure. I cannot wait to grab hold of you and give you a massive hug. I'm looking forward for us to meet again. We kind of connected in Napa, although we've been following each other for many years. So this has been an absolute pleasure. I'm going to have that conversation with you sitting down for a whole afternoon and just rapping. So I can't wait to have that with you, Lauren. Thank you so much for being a guest on Scale Your Sales podcast.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's been wonderful hanging out with you.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Scale Your Sales podcast. If you like this discussion, feel free to listen to other episodes or watch the captioned show on YouTube and subscribe to future episodes. I would really appreciate it if you would leave a positive review on iTunes. Thank you.